Quinn, do you want to intro the episode, or should I talk about my new character?
Well, I think we're going to get to that in a second. I want to set something up a little bit first, which is a bit of the vibe that is going on in the gig. The World's Fair has just ended, and there was a tremendous amount of success on the aquatic side of things. Alliances were made, a tournament was won. It was a pretty resounding success, so I imagine spirits in the underwater side of the gig are very high.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Unfortunately, it is the exact opposite above, where the last thing that residents of the gig discovered was the death of one of the most important people in the community, Hylia the Tree Pope, who literally exploded. And in addition, there is now a tremendous sense of unease as rumors have spread throughout the gig that someone from below has stolen pieces of some of the corpse parts that are being kept for vibe checks. So there's currently a tremendous kind of unease going on right now.
I wonder who that could be.
Barbella's gonna have a great day. She's not been suspected of anything, and she's gonna go see her friend, the religious figure, and talk about her religious epiphanies. It's gonna be a great day for her.
I really thought I was going to be the one that was stealing body parts to do stuff with, but I seem to have been really beaten to the punch here.
I was really hoping one person would catch me and, like, I would have a problem with one person. I was really hoping it wasn't going to become, like the local gossip this quick.
I had to pick who it was, and I was like, well, who's the most interesting person? And I was like, yeah, it's that person, and now everyone knows. So,
thanks. I love that. I love that you made it everyone. I love that you did that. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a correlation between the body part, the liver stealing and Hylia exploding. Maybe those coincided in some way,
Very possibly. That was like the cover. Like, there was a huge explosion. Everyone looked out the window to see who it was, and that's when you could see Barbella in the background, like, tiptoeing.
Oh, this is such a within, like, the scope of consequences I was expecting. I'm real feeling like I was ready for this.
I want to stress that there is not like an anger. You guys are able to enter the gig. There is not like anybody who is like, get out of here, or anything like that. There's just a sense of unease from everybody topside who feel very stressed right now as somebody they know has died. There are people stealing parts. There's potentially a gigantic threat who just threw trees into their establishment. There's a lot of concern right now. So the mood inside of the gig is dampened slightly. And I do want to turn our attention to the person that Austin is playing now going forward.
Yeah, Parks, right? You're the old robot.
I should. That would be probably more fun. This character that I'm going to embody.
Austin, you can play Barbella. I'll let you have Barbella right now.
Take the fall, Austin.
Also, worth noting, everyone from Wet Side gets the same little cold shoulder. No one specifically is pointing at Barbella or anything.
Okay, I was gonna ask whether this is like, it's part of Wet Team, it's just anyone from the ocean, or it's like, it's someone with muscles, we know who it is.
Yeah.
Look, Wet Team got a lot of really cool magical items and allies last round. We had a party member explode. You can get a little bit of sadness, too.
I would play Barbella. I love consequences. It's so interesting. I just blew up my character. I don't give a fuck.
Look, I love consequences, but like I have to play the game of I gotta push back a little bit.
Yeah, I am playing Miss Killings, AJ Killings, a level 8 warlock. She is a tiefling. I can get into some of the things as we go along, maybe during my level up scene. The important things are that she is basically cold as ice. Every scene she's appeared in, all of her screen time, everyone keeps trying to roll charisma checks on her, persuasion, intimidation. It just never works. And I know out of character, that's just because that's how dice work, is sometimes things happen. But I'm choosing to play her as, like, you put a gun to her forehead and her heart rate doesn't change. She's just completely unflappable. Just does not Yeah, you just cannot move her. That's her main emotional, situation right now.
Oh, what does Stranger feel about that? Your whole thing is making people flap.
Jesus.
I think it'll be an interesting dynamic going forward as she is being promoted into the vibe check, because I think Stranger and Miss Killings might get along, but we'll see how this goes. We didn't expect Hylia to be kind of rude to Barbella originally, so who knows?
Yeah, I think this is a good time to sort of establish, as the mood here is a somber one. What is everybody doing? Particularly Miss Killings, a character we're kind of learning a lot more about now for the first time.
Yeah, for the opening group scene, I think this is the end of the World's Fair, so maybe it's like the final performance that Lillian is putting on. I'm imagining, approaching them after the show, or at some kind of, meet afterwards. Maybe get everybody in there just so they could ask Killings questions if they want. I don't know if anybody, has any other reason not to show up to this, but that's my thinking here is that Killings has been given instructions by Hylia, so she's like going to be useful and not, intransigent here.
I like the idea of this being like the last like World's Fair like performance that Lillian and Dumas are putting on. Like I can imagine it's like, oh, we're putting on like one last show of like the play about finding the well at the end of the world. It's very popular.
I believe Stranger was assigned to the culinary duties of this dinner and a show situation during the last downtime. So I think he's the waiter on staff, and he's taking everyone's order, but they're all getting the exact same meal at the end of the day, and it's just soup.
Okay.
and it's
What kind of soup?
in honor of Hylia. It's the dirty water from the laundry.
No.
Pope soup. Got it. Okay.
Can you start taking some of those friendship points away now? We're serving everyone dirty water soup.
Can we make the new rumor around town that like, oh, this is the big travesty going on. No one else has done anything wrong in the ocean now.
I knew that Stranger didn't have like cooking proficiency. I just thought because you're the farmer that you would acquire food, but I like your commitment to being like, how dare you do this to me? You don't know anything about my character.
He's a plant. He's probably mostly just pouring water on himself and sitting in rotting compost.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Damn, that does sound good though.
Yeah, I mean, Boyce is there, obviously. I mean, just so available. I'm not sure if Boyce would immediately approach Miss Killings, just because I think, the news is sort of like weird about what's going on, but I think it's easy to spot Boyce. Really, the others, I think we stand out quite a bit, even among our kind. I don't know if Barbella and Reaper are at the performance or not.
I want Reaper is there. I assume everyone's there. It's Lillian's performance. We're all there to support Fair. But I want Reaper to go up to Barbella, and Reaper has like a pair of sunglasses on because she was supposed to be like security for the event, and she's like, "Isn't this awesome? Nobody's looking us in the eye. We're deserving of so much respect right now. Isn't this the best?"
Yeah, it's great when no one looks you in the eye. That's I love that. Love that. Love that.
Yes, I feel so powerful. I want to do laps. Let's do like a burpees contest.
You know what? You might have found the one time I'm not in the mood for exercise.
All right, so Lillian, you finish up your performance. You get a standing ovation. You're bowing. You're coming off the stage. All your friends are like standing in the wings, and Miss Killings is kind of, rudely, just presumptuously, I guess, just walk to the front to see you and just say, "AJ Killings, I'm supposed to touch base with you on some lingering issues vis-a-vis Hylia."
Oh, yeah. Hello, Miss Killings. It's nice to meet you again. Did you like the performance? Do you like the confetti? The big confetti streamer cannons that I got to put off at the end of the show?
Yes, it seemed to have a desirable effect on the attendees who we need to ally against the Coral Kingdom and the Storm Giant Wight. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we are supposed to touch base a little bit. I wanted to maybe make a better second impression. So Lillian puts out like a very professional handshake gesture, like hello, Miss Killings, Lillian Sparridge.
Stranger in the background yelling to Harvest in the quote-unquote kitchen. I need more soup for table 4.
There's only so many mops I could squeeze out there, brother.
But yeah.
Half portions. Cut it with that cleaning detergent.
All right. From the top, I put out like a professional handshake, just going like, "Hello again, Miss Killings. My name is Lillian Sparridge, and I have been known to be a quote-unquote rambunctious rapscallion when I've had a little bit too much wine that makes you gay."
I forgot about the wine that makes you gay.
Like, that's the problem with the wine that makes you gay, is you have enough of it and you forget that you ever had it. You just remember the gay, you forget the wine.
When you offer a hand, Killings just shakes it robotically, just like it's an instinct. It's like something deeper than conscious thought. It's just from the business world. You see a hand, you shake the hand, and she just says, "Unnecessary. Hylia has appointed me to act in her stead, so I have all of the powers vested in her at this current point, power of attorney and so forth. So just address me as if I was Hylia for all intents and purposes."
Hi, Aaliyah.
Do you want me to call you Hylia, or are you just acting in her stead while she's in the queue, so to speak?
My friends call me AJ.
You could call me Miss Killings.
Damn it! That's literally what I was gonna do. You fucking bitch. I was waiting for you to respond to AJ, and then I'm like, no, Miss Killings. Dan's too good at this.
Dan is really
Literally
good at this.
sniped what I was about to say. It was just like, all right, so can I call you Can I call you AJ?
No, my title is Camerlengo Killings.
Camerlengo?
Yes.
Austin constantly has these weird ass fucking religious titles that no one's heard of before.
Is that another one that Hylia made up?
No, that was Doge, recall.
No, first of all, neither of those are made up. Those are both real titles.
They're made up as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, but yeah, she says, yes, Hylia gifted me this title. I was only the personal assistant to President Slater, which is not a job with much future advancement opportunities. In the progress biome, it does have a certain sturdiness and certainty that is rare in the living city. But here, sky is the limit. So, Killings, Camerlengo Killings, things of this nature.
Got it. Caldor Drago Killings.
Could you please spell Camerlengo?
Camerlengo.
The way I was so sure there was gonna be a KH in there.
I should say this is a great moment to introduce Killings' background. So I'm doing a reflavored version of Orzhov Representative. Orzhov is a Ravnican church in a different lore, but for our purposes, she is a representative of the Church of the Banyan, and her feature is called leverage. You can exert leverage over one or more individuals below you in the guild's hierarchy and demand their help as needs warrant. So yeah, her whole thing is basically ruthless business tactics, which she got trained under Slater, who we saw was just a man who feeds people into machines.
I won't. That's not technically correct, but I refuse to defend Slater, so I'm gonna let that be the narrative going forward.
I would say he was unbothered by rampant workplace accidents.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
Fed
a thing.
people directly into the machine himself with his hands.
If it did not affect production quotas, it didn't matter.
Pretty much. But all the other characters are there, so Killings will wave over Stranger, Reaper, Barbella, everyone who wants to talk, because she's been looped in essentially from Hylia.
as we I want to say real quick, before we sidebar, I just want to check in with my acting partner real quick, and Lillian's just gonna check like on Dumas and see like how they feel about like their performance. Be like, you did a really great job. You followed all the cues. You didn't forget any of your lines. Just really good last performance. It was a great it was a great last send off for the World's Fair.
Yeah, your script, it was really good. I love the part where the tree pope didn't explode at the end.
Dumas, just if Lillian goes in to hug Dumas, will they accept that?
Yeah, I think so.
Just give him a supportive hug, pat their head.
Why is everything so bad? The soup wasn't good either.
I would not recommend going to Stranger for soup ever again. You maybe take a sick day tomorrow.
Okay, so I can just sit in my room and get more soup? Because now I kind of have, like, a craving for it.
I hate it. Can I get more?
Killings will just pipe up and say, Shapeshifter, actually a number of things are very good. We have allied with a number of communities with powerful magic and resources, so, compared to one death, I think this has been a successful event, and we should all be in high spirits.
Isn't there a giant that's gonna try to kill us all?
Just we're gonna take care of the giant, and just we're gonna make sure as many people as possible do not also die. We've got plans. We're taking care of things. Just, don't cry so much, Dumas. It's okay.
Reaper is gonna walk up at this point and be like, yes, I was told to, I think, kill this giant, so where are they? If you haven't heard, I'm the World's Fair martial arts champion, so I should be able to crush them very easily, no doubt.
Stranger's gonna also stroll up at this point, having closed the kitchen for the night, pulling off the loosely dangling waiter uniform he was assigned, and just kind of tossing it back to Harvest, who's making a bowl of soup for himself at this point. And goes, well, I believe it's heading towards the ocean to kill the riddle snake currently. I don't think that'll be an issue for the snake, though.
Oh, and Reaper's going to turn to Barbella, who this is probably news to.
I mean, the fish is pretty big and strong. I don't imagine anyone's gonna stroll up and just gonna take it out. Probably. How big is this giant?
Okay, you see the roof of this room?
Uh-huh.
It's a lot bigger than that.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Maybe the next hole won't be near the town, or else the giant will kill everyone there, probably.
I specifically we are trying to get as much time as we can to make a plan to get his ass, so to speak. And part of it is that I asked him pretty please with ice cream and cherries on top to not hurt anybody that wasn't directly in his way. So hopefully,
well, that's good. That's good. I should consult the riddle book. On this.
Killing turns to you, Barbella, and says, I'll prepare a storm giant dossier for your perusal. I will say they are pretty much the largest sapient creature and one of the most powerful, perhaps second to the really ancient giants or ancient dragons. So I think approaching it would be foolhardy, but my understanding, and feel free to add to my understanding, priest, is that no one but clerics and paladins of the riddlefish can successfully approach it. So what we've done here is bought time. We don't know hours, days, weeks, until our deception is uncovered.
To my understanding, that is true, but also I'm now trying to picture how big that thing is. It might be able to run faster than riddles can riddle. Does your dossier have riddles in it? I need guidance.
I believe he is the type of person to cut the Gordian knot and then solve the puzzle.
Wait a minute. Who's faster, me or riddles?
How fast could a riddle go if a riddle this you did?
Barbella, open your book and give me any riddle. I'll beat it in a foot race right now.
I believe a dossier, though, is in order. We do need to know what the riddle stakes are here, you know?
God.
I was specifically instructed by Pope Hylia not to kill you, boys, but I want to let you know that is what is staying my hand right now.
I like you.
Are you sorry? Killings. You've taken over in Hylia's place. Does that include tree religion duty?
I have many duties, not explicitly enumerated at this particular time. If you have something that you need to bring to Hylia's attention, you can bring it to me for now. Presumably, she will be back after waiting in the queue and undergoing the vibe check. But I can take all your questions at this time.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's expectedly business.
From your tone, it doesn't sound as though that was fine. Do I need to add additional incentives?
I don't know how to interact with you. And Barbella is going to slowly walk backwards.
It sounds as though I'm winning this social interaction, she says.
Lillian gives Barbella like a very sympathetic look, like, I don't know how to interact with this kind of person either. I've never been inside a business.
It is deeply telling that you consider social interactions to be winnable.
I do as well.
That makes sense.
Killings, Reaper, big muscular arms clasping.
So how many people did you kill during this contest, Reaper? I'm assuming another trillion?
Well, I don't want to go into the specifics. It was quite a bloody ordeal that you didn't get to see because you can't go underwater, I believe. So, no need to investigate it, but know that countless generations have been ended because of my knife.
I don't think you'd pass a vibe check to come back at that rate. But then again, who could stop you?
I was going to say, who's going to kill me?
It is a shame we couldn't watch the contest. I do love a good show.
But I won, so there's that. Reaper's going to like hold out a trophy that was not presented to her, by the way. She just made one for herself so that everyone knows.
It's made out of driftwood and seaweed.
Yeah. There's only one of these, so, I'm a pretty big deal down below. And here, too, because I'll beat anyone up who says I'm not. You all think I'm cool, right?
I have explicit instructions from Pope Hylia to say you are very cool.
Yes. It's all coming together.
I think it's a shame I missed this wonderful competition.
Well, maybe we'll deign to hold the next one on land next year.
Oh, I think my brother will quite like that. Tell me, is it you are allowed to kill, yes? Judging by your reference to countless generations being wiped out?
I mean, if that's the way you want to do it. Some would say it's more sporting to not kill. Where's the rest of this soup? I'm actually kind of hungry. I'm going to leave now. And thus leave this conversation as victor.
Just Stranger 0, Reaper 1.
I can't believe she ring-outed me in a conversation.
Before you exit the scene, Killings will just say, so we're all on the same page. This is the inner circle of trust. The so-called vibe checkers and the whole patrol. These are the only people I'm authorized to share intel with. The current situation is that we have several enemies, most notably the Storm Giant Wight, who will eventually return from the fruitless hunt for the riddlefish, and we will need to be ready. We have several armies at our beck and call, but we also have the Coral Kingdom to contend with, and the Banana Baron, whose machinations are currently unknown, has something to do with stealing all the land of Zolfo. Boyce, I believe you have the maps at your disposal.
that I do of the various territories and the vents and what appears to be efforts to curtail the control of all of them underneath the domain of the Banana Boys.
So currently, the Church of the Banyan is issuing a moratorium on resurrections to avoid crossing paths with the Storm Giant Wight. In order for him to uphold his promise of mercy, he needs to be left unbothered. So that is a perfect cover to avoid having to bring back President or make up to be discovered having not revived President Slater. Meanwhile, Vibe Checkers, you are going to continue business as usual without alerting Captain Commander Commodore Cassidy. Is this the situation? Yes?
Yes, and I believe we also have to be making preparations for Wight's inevitable return. And our inevitable, let's say, jumping of him.
And then between all that, we also have to set up that vault for the body parts. Someone took a body part while we weren't able to do anything about it, so we got to get on that too. Which I guess is part of business as usual.
At least from what I hear, it was only part of a body part, not the whole thing, which is, at least something.
Yeah, we went in and found it was 10% of a liver cut out, and it was just kind of slotted back into place as if no one would notice. It was very odd.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I do think it brings up something I've been considering for a bit of time now. If you want me to be growing Harvestkin for you, and as highly as rightfully indicated, there is a market for body parts. This is a service being provided to people here. I think that they should be forced to tithe 90% of whatever they are bringing to bring back, and then the rest remaining 10% easier to contain, lock up, and eventually bring back, if need be.
Just squinting I understand the pumpkin person thing because that's a part of your way of life, and there are definitely other uses for body parts. I'm not sure I approve of that morally, but I guess if people would be okay with it, I don't know.
I do want to ask this because this is a conversation that is occurring entirely within the what was it Austin said, the circle of trust.
Circle of trust.
That this is a decision you are going to be making then for the gig to start implementing, which is anyone who comes has to donate 90% of the body to Harvestkin going forward.
Yeah, that's what Stranger is proposing.
Okay. I just want to establish that.
Because because Stranger's pitch is that then you have your standing army here, and you have uses for body parts going home. Stranger will point out to Lillian, look, back home, if this will be of any consolation to you, there is a certain group that I have known to provide exquisite medical care. But they have one condition. On your death, they harvest whatever they need from you. Some of that goes to helping other people. Some of that goes to personal projects. The end result for you is the same. You get to live. The end result here is the same. The family member comes back.
I hate to add negativity to a blue sky brainstorming session. However, most people who arrive in Banyan Island only bring a small body part. It's easier to transport, so I think statistically mostly teeth and small bones. So I don't know that's going to be a deep well of resources as we would like. So I would still like to explore alternate options for defense of the island. Of
course. Then you can composite something from many small pieces, but you are correct. It would be more of You are correct. It would take many more than a single person to grow a new Harvestkin.
But that's a good, how do I say this? But that's a good initiative, Stranger, for your work while you're maintaining the facade of things operating normally so we don't draw the attention of the occupying army currently on the island. Lillian, you're obviously going to be constructing a vault with the sacred items that Hylia left, very valuable magic components. What about Wet Team or the whole patrol? It's all every instance of Wet Team has been scratched out here in Hylia's notes, and it says whole patrol now. Very unfortunate.
Well, we got a lot done down here. I'm not sure what there is left we need to do. We've got a lot of armies in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, I'm killing your giant. You need me to do more for you. Sounds like you're getting awfully lazy up here on the top.
I mean, I wouldn't have come with that kind of attitude. Mine was more of a genuine question of what do you need.
Don't worry, Barbella, I have you. These lazy bums won't use us for their labor.
No, don't worry. I very much want to be there when he dies. I need that corpse.
We appreciate greatly your efforts to secure the island with allies and their resources. I suppose the main thing now for the whole patrol would be to stop the machinations of the businessman known as the Banana Baron, while keeping anyone from bothering Storm Giant Wight. Just to reiterate, do not engage, do not physically attack him. You will be killed, and then it will end the grant of mercy, and we will probably then all be killed. So just keep him safe. This sounds paradoxical and perhaps counterintuitive, but one of your highest priorities is in fact to protect the Storm Giant Wight at this point.
Oh, don't worry. There's no risk of me deciding to pick fight with them. Okay, Reaper, there might be a risk of that with, but...
Yeah, there's a big risk of this, I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
Okay, I'll put myself on Reaper duty, like, full-time for a while.
But hopefully by the time the giant tires of the fruitless chase of the riddle snake or is repelled by its religious might, preparations will be ready here for that showdown. Does anybody else have any other business?
Did it seem like that giant had really high, like, wisdom and was good at riddles?
I think he would beat you until you told him the answer he gave you was correct.
I just worry about trying to pull the gad of asking 3 riddles and, seeing what happens. But that would, in essence, that would bring the riddle snake to the storm giant, and that might be just what he wants. So.
So down below you're dealing with some sort of baron who's stealing land, is that it?
To an effect.
He wants everyone's holes.
Yes.
You can't have mine, I already gave it away.
Yeah, he wants to get his hands on everyone's holes.
All right, you fucking nerds. Sometime during this conversation, a waiter has handed Killings the wine that makes you gay, and she sipped it, and now she's blushing and makes an excuse to leave.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they don't have shit like that up on the surface. Oh, it's so good.
I would love some wine before we go. That was an exhausting performance. Need something to pick up my spirits.
You should terrify his workers. A demoralized workforce is not going to be willing to defend him or capable.
I mean, I just beat up his strongest fighter. I don't imagine we need to worry too much about it.
Yeah, it wasn't even that much of a contest. It was just like, it was embarrassing on their part, honestly.
Hell yeah. And Reaper is going to give Boyce a fist bump.
Boyce will fist bump, and Gowdy will like headbutt Reaper's fist as well.
To each their own. I prefer my enemies terrified, sleep-deprived, and screaming for their lives.
Is that why everyone looks so sad up here?
Well, no, Hylia exploded. That really did a number.
She was an important member of the community. She ran the book club. She was doing all that Pope stuff. Like, even if I didn't really get it, like, I know some people were kind of... Like, she was trying to do a lot of things at once, and a lot of people got touched, like, by her actions, and now they're sad that she's gone.
Well, might want to work on that, because it sounds like when Wight comes back, you have a pretty sad-looking army right now.
Just we will gather forces and lift spirits.
I'm gonna go break things. I'm a little bored now.
Cool.
Have a good day, Reaper. Go kill another generation.
If I feel like it. Also, I won this conversation too. And she's going to raise up her arm in victory and leave.
Oh, 0
She just
2.
keeps on winning.
I don't think she realizes she's leaving the ring before the match is over. That's a disqualification.
How do you want to do this, Sarah? Because I could just have Reaper go backstage and start breaking things as the introduction, but I think you wanted Lillian to be writing something.
Yeah, like, Lillian wanted to take a moment, like, when things had calmed down a little bit, like, after the World's Fair is over, like, before, like, they really get started on, like, getting the vault properly set up with the material components Hylia gave Fair, like, just sit down somewhere nice and quiet, maybe backstage, and, like, just write a little letter to Fair family, just letting them know what's been happening.
You just hear, like, a crunch as one of your pieces of set kind of falls over. And Reaper is there. It says, "Oh, it wasn't a real building after all."
That was the set piece for the ocean biome in the play that I was putting on, where it's like, oh, it's like a big dramatic boat like sailing across the sea, and then there's like a temple, and like you just broke the temple there, but it's fine.
Shouldn't a temple be constructed of hardier material to defend against invaders?
Maybe in real life, but on the stage, the only invaders would be the actors doing a little dance in front of it.
A dance isn't threatening. You'll never conquer the temple that way.
She thought everything happening in the performance was real.
You know how in a fighting competition, people like exchange blows, and then like one of them is the victor at the end of the play is kind of like people exchanging verbal blows until they win the script by reading it correctly.
Oh, so I would be the champion of the play by beating everyone.
You're getting closer. You're getting closer to that.
Perhaps I shall try my hand at this. I've already conquered martial arts and riddles. Perhaps I will conquer this theater next.
If you're interested in theater, I could definitely bring you into my I guess newly burgeoning beginning acting class. Dumas already been doing super well. I'm not sure if they would vibe with your very intense energy, but like
Are they the one that cries a lot?
they are the one that cries a lot. Yes.
Then I could beat them in a fight. What are you doing right there? Are those notes on how to become stronger at theater?
No, these aren't notes to be stronger at theater. Just Lillian isn't making any attempt to hide the letter. It's just like it's just like a letter to my dearest family back in Yggdrasil, because I wanted to let them know everything that's happened. I haven't written to them in a little bit because a lot of things have happened in very quick succession. Just like, hi mama, hi papa, there's a lot of things happening over here. There's a giant that could try to kill everyone at every moment, but I don't want you to worry because we're working on it.
Why are you bothering writing letters to people? That seems like a silly use of your time when you could be doing like high kicks and cool things like that.
Well,
You haven't even built a skateboard ramp in this place.
that's something we'd have to bring up with Harker. I don't actually skate, but anyways, I'm writing my family because when I left to bring my friend back to life, like a while back ago, I made a promise with my papa and mama that I would write to them every so often so that they could make sure that I'm okay.
Why?
Because they care about me and I care about them.
Family is stupid.
No, family's one of the most important things in the world.
Why? How does it make you stronger in any way? I've done a lot of push-ups and I don't have any family. I just won a martial arts tournament and I don't have a family. So clearly having a family can't make you strong.
Well, in my case, anyways, my mama and papa taught me everything I know about acting, how to be polite and good, how to talk to people, like do taxes.
No. Families are supposed to teach you those things.
Yeah, they are. When you say you don't have a family, did you ever have a family?
I don't really understand. The only person I ever had was the Master Evers. And he just beat me up until I got good at fighting back.
Oh, no, that doesn't sound very good at all, no. So you're
Well, that's
saying...
what I needed to become strong. Now I'm the strongest warrior around.
Is Master Evers the one who raised you and also taught you how to fight?
I mean, I guess. I don't really know what you mean by raised exactly.
Oh my god.
Sparring? Is that like raising someone?
So you know how someone is born and then they can't take care of themselves for a while, so someone else has to do the feeding and the taking care of them for them, right?
I guess. I don't know. I've seen a baby before, I guess. It's stupid
Yeah.
and weak. I could beat it up.
I guess technically you could. But no, yeah, my mama and papa are the ones who raised me from being a baby. Is Master Evers the one who raised you from being a baby?
I guess. I don't really remember exactly. I only remember fighting a lot, getting yelled at for not being strong enough. And then darkness, that's my favorite part. And then they died, so I have to bring them back so I can kill them. Are you considering the same with your parents? Do you also plan to kill them at some point to prove that you're strong and you don't need them?
I have never planned to kill my parents in my entire life. I think maybe there was some stuff with Master Evers that might have negatively affected your childhood. Just spitballing here. I don't want to make assumptions.
Well, there's only the two of us, so, we'll never really know which one of us is right about parents and being raised by somebody. I could be right. More people could be like me.
Very technically speaking.
You're the weird one, Lillian.
Well, if I'm the weird one, then I'm glad to be weird, I guess.
I mean, what's so good about having a family? They just let you down.
Having a family, for me anyways, could be different for other people, is having people who will lift you up and have your back even when you can't be as strong as you need to be. Like right here, I let my mama and papa know if something bad happens to me, I wouldn't want them to come over here until they get some kind of word that it's safe to be on the island again. But after that, if they want to come, if they want to write, if they want to check in on me, see if I got put in the queue or anything like that, then they can be free to once it's not deadly.
And what do you do when someone in your family lets you down?
Well, I guess I kind of stew on it for a bit. There have been times where my family has let me down and I get upset with them. There are probably some things that I still haven't fully resolved, like I have a sister who's, I think, a lot better at acting than I am. She's gonna be a star someday, I just know it. And I guess I'd say I'm a little jealous of her, and that makes me feel bad, and I haven't talked to her about it. But, like, I still want her to know that I'm okay, and I want her to know that I want to know that she's okay, because, like, we still had good times, so when she lets me down, like, I try to remember the better parts.
And how do you know your sister won't leave you behind because she's better at theater fighting than you are?
Oh, I don't know. She could leave Yggdrasil, like, go on a tour, become, like, world-famous star. Like, I think she could definitely, very might well become. And I just don't know. I don't know if she's gonna leave or not. But I just have to trust that my family will be there for me and try not to doubt them, I guess. Worry about it too much. Because, like, if I can't rely on my family, if I can't keep in touch with them, then, like, what else am I gonna do?
Reaper seems like a little sad as she hears your answer, because she's clearly trying to work through something on her own end, and she just kind of, like, clenches her fists and says, "Well, what if you're, not strong enough, and nobody really wants to stay around you? What do you do then?"
I try to reach out to whoever I can that could maybe help me through things if someone else, like, falls to the wayside. I've got a friend right now who I haven't talked to since the whole Wight giant tree throwing incident, and I think she might be mad at me, so I don't know how to talk to her either. So I talked about that in my letter too, and hopefully my folks can give me some advice too.
How do you think you could reconnect with the K-Pods to know that they still like you? I mean, your friend. How do you know that they still like you and they haven't left you behind because they see you as weak and inferior?
Lillian's eyebrows raise up a little bit.
What are you doing? Is this some kind of technique? Are you going to try to paralyze me?
No, it's less of a combat technique and more just me thinking about your question, processing it. I would say if I'm worried about my friend, then I guess the first thing I should do is probably go reach out to her specifically and tell her how I feel and maybe talk to her about her feelings. Hypothetically speaking, you could probably do the same thing with someone that would be important for you to do in a hypothetical.
Hypothetically, yes, I know about that sort of like mental fighting.
Yes. Mental fighting with mental people until you can go verbal spar with someone to fight your feelings.
This is speaking my language. Everything in the context of a fight.
Just you go and you tag team with someone else to fight the feelings that have been distressing you until you two can come to a conclusion and beat up the bad feelings together.
Perhaps so. And I did win the World's Fair Martial Arts Tournament, proving I'm the best martial artist to ever live. So perhaps I am strong enough to protect this family that hypothetically exists. It isn't a thing I'm speaking about that's actually happening to me right now.
I think a hypothetical family like the one you're talking about would be very excited to hear that you won a competition like that, and they would be like, "Oh, Reaper, you're so cool."
Yes, I am very cool and would like to hear people say that. Now, are you ready, Lillian, with everything that's happening to be strong enough to protect your friends?
I am. I have new resolve to be a stronger person than I was before. And I want to be able to fight the things that I need to without worrying about it. Just think about what your friend Barbella would do, which is just go in and swinging. Because if I can't do that, then how else am I going to protect people?
Yes, modeling yourself off of Barbella is a brilliant idea. She's very strong.
She's very strong. She could definitely take... She could probably take me down in a fight in like 3 swings. I trained with her a little bit. I know this.
Why didn't you come for me to train? I'm very good at fighting and training. Training means beating people up, right? I'm so good at that.
I know you're very good at fighting, but I got
Do you want
the
me to kick you in the
impression-
knee right now?
Just roll the attack. Do it. Do it.
Sneak attack!
I'm gonna try not to be that much of a dick.
Yeah. I got the impression that you were more of the self-actualization, training just yourself type of person and wouldn't want to help other people get stronger in case they might get stronger than you.
I mean, that's impossible. I'm the strongest. But, you know, if somebody needs help around, I would like to help. Ugh. There. Is that... I'm not saying it again, so you better have heard me.
I did hear you very clearly. If I need help getting stronger again, I will see about coming to you about it.
And don't go spreading this around. But, you know, if you want to make like a piece of paper and hang it on one of your walls that say I'll do it, then that's fine. I guess.
Like something like on a bulletin board?
I don't know what that is, but sure.
All right, I will keep that in mind, but I will not tell people verbally, no. I just does that, like, motion of, like, locking your lips and throwing away the key.
Oh, you dropped your key. Hold on, I'll find it. And she starts like getting on all fours looking around for this key.
Oh my god, it's gonna be fucking Dojo Master Reaper training a bunch of white belt 5-year-olds.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think I didn't get much for my level up, but I guess I will briefly go over that I got to the ability score increase, so I just increased my charisma, so I think that's like 18 now, plus 4. I got +1 armor, and I also picked up the very important Glyph of Warding spell that Hylia gave me a giant sword for, so I might as well use that soon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm bad at D&D, so I forgot to also say at my character sheet, I don't think I did anything too special. This is like the stat level up. So I basically just increased like dexterity and everything to a higher number, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I think I will eventually tell Reaper, like, oh, there, you found the key. You can hand it to me now. You don't have to keep crawling around the floor on all fours.
Ah, excellent. Nothing escapes my gaze. Make sure that you mention that in your letter home to your family. And Reaper kind of like puts quotes around that. She doesn't quite understand how quotes work, but she's trying.
I'll be sure to tell my family that you're very strong and very helpful.
And cool. Did you remember to put cool in there? Tell them about how I rail grinded down a hill. Everyone was very impressed.
That is very impressive. I will let them know about that. And it was nice talking to you. I think I talked through some things that were on my mind, but I needed to have somebody else to talk to about it first. Stranger's been doing his own thing, and I don't think I could talk to Miss Killings even if I wanted to.
Yes. She seems powerful and imposing.
She's very intimidating.
I like that. We need more cool people like that around here. It's a lot of, sad sacks around this place. Do something about that. I'm not going to train any of them until they stop being sad.
I will make sure that they perk up real soon. We're going to figure something out. I was hoping maybe the play would put a bit of smile on their faces, but everyone's just kind of like, damn, I wish life could be like a play. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to take inspiration from the play to apply to your life.
I just feel even worse. That looks like a better way I could have been living this whole time.
No!
Well, eventually you'll bring back your tree friend and everything will be fine, right?
Just sharp inhale, like, maybe. She kind of kept a lot of things from us. She apparently told you a couple of the things that she was keeping from us, because she apparently thought Stranger was untrustworthy and I was too weak for it or something.
Yes, both of those things sound correct from what I understand. No offense. I mean, I guess a little offense, but, I am pretty strong.
Just a little offense taken, then.
Well, I'm gonna go drink more of that wine before it all disappears, so I'll get you around.
All right. Catch you on the flip side.
What does that mean? You're gonna try
Means-
to flip me? I'll flip you first.
Roll the attack.
I'm trying to get in. 19.
Oh god, that hits me.
I judo flipper. Judo flip bear. Right over.
You fucking take me like I think you're going in for a hug, then you fucking suplex me.
No one's going to get the jump on old Reaper.
So the big thing is that Barbella now has a new magical item from last arc, the Belt of Frost Giant Strength. And what that means is that Barbella has 23 strength.
Jesus Christ.
She's jumped from not having finished leveling that stat to higher than the game allows you to put that stat. So, what
Is
that
it
means...
a Frost Giant sized belt that she's wearing a sash just over her shoulders?
That wasn't the plan, but it is now. I love that. The big thing that means in practical terms is her strength modifier has gone up to +6. So +3 to trying to hit things and +3 to the damage I do every time I hit. And I have multiple attacks a turn. I'm getting better at hitting things. Other than that, bit more constitution, bit more health. That's the gist of it. Some stats went up. Mainly, she's got a new strong belt to fight away any feelings that need fighting. You can punch a feeling, right?
Reaper sure thinks so.
In addition to the narrative consequences of getting all three of the factions last arc on your side, there was also material rewards. Reaper, you didn't bring up yours during your downtime, but you got something for giving your vent to the cephalids. I don't know when you want to talk about that. But that's what Barbella. The belt is what you get. So that hasn't been said on. That was for the sharks. And for the Leshy, the food supply in Zolfo has just increased in quality. So if you're thinking of it as a Wild West town where everyone's eating a hardtack and tumbleweeds or whatever, and now suddenly you can get real food, and so everyone's just health, your actual bodily physical health is better, so your stats go up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and to go over my level up quickly, I increased dexterity and wisdom by 1 point with my ability score improvement for 8th level. Then I also took... Stranger has eaten the banyan fruit given to him by Hylia, and I think what that has done to him is that some of his vines have started to look more like banyan tree vines. I believe they're actual vines before they calcify. Is that correct, Austin?
They're roots. They're not vines. They look like vines, but those are actually prop roots is what they're called.
Sure, whatever. Some of his vines have turned into those.
into roots. They're strangler roots. Literally, what they do is they seek out other plants, other trees, and crush them and kill them and eat them.
Yeah, and that is my justification for taking the Fey Touched feat. And as well, I've taken Silvery Barbs from that first level enchantment spell I was allowed to take from that feat. Other things that I've got a buff to my wild shape. I can now fly if when I wild shape. As well, I have taken a few new spells. By my count, the most interesting one is Guardian of Nature, which is like, it lets me get jacked up on nature juice. I've got Primal Beast and Great Tree as my options, and I can keep that running while I turn into another monster for wild shape. So it's like an ongoing buff, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, so I think Stranger goes into the multi-faith room expecting it to be deserted, and a little bit surprised to see Barbella violently pacing back and forth. And he will speak up and go, "Oh, hello. I was expecting this place to be a bit quieter. Are you all right? You seem distressed. I thought you'd be happy after coming off of that win down below. Although I guess you do have a giant coming to kill your god."
I mean, I'll be honest with you, a giant coming to kill my god is weirdly the lowest on my list of priorities right now. It's been a lot. Hylia exploded.
Yes, she did.
That sure did happen.
Yes, part of her body landed square in my face. It hurt quite a bit.
I've been really skeptical of her whole tree pope thing, if I'm honest. I feel bad about that.
But hold on one moment. Should we turn this conversation to over there? And he points to one of those like Catholic confessionals. that seems more appropriate for this.
Sure. We installed the sound boothing in there, the soundproofing in the booth. It's probably a good shout. But yes, once inside the soundproof confessional booth, Barbella's gonna go, I was really excited to come up here and talk to Hylia after everything that happened down there. I came to a realization about religion, about my religion and hers. Maybe they're just one religion? Kind of.
Well, that's rather interesting.
And that's a lot to realize, and then, yeah, that's a lot to take in, and then suddenly have no one to, discuss as a figurehead of the other half of the same one religion to, maybe hash out understanding of what that means.
I will not lie. I misjudged Hylia as well. Well, to be honest, to an extent believed that she was doing this solely for her own gratification. But clearly, that isn't the case. For all her faults, she was a true believer in what she said and did. I am no priest of the banyan tree, but I am a good listener. Would you care to talk to me about your troubles? Your discoveries?
Well, the core of it's pretty simple. The tree and the snake are sort of counterpoints of each other. They are it's hard to express religious epiphany in words that make much sense when you put them out loud, but there is something about the nature of the roots and the branches of the tree and the way that down below we represent the riddlefish or serpent or snake as this sort of bundle of different representations all sort of clustered together at one central point, almost like the roots coming away from the tree where they all meet together. And it all, it seems obvious when you say it that they're all part of one cycle, that we have this one cycle that sort of interacts with the both of them, but I can't help but feel like some of the reason that, our religion uses so many words for this thing might be that, sometimes it's above the water, maybe it was above the water at one point and maybe isn't now. And that it's all sort of intertwined, and it's...
It would be fair to say that it's all a bit of a riddle.
Right, you get where I'm going. I wrote my first good riddle. I was so excited to tell Hylia. It was about trees and snakes and used a lot of Ouroboros and like the ring of the rings of the tree being both sort of like circles imagery. It's a lot better than my usual
riddles. Would you like to tell it to me?
Well, I mean, I've kind of told you the answer is riddles is like trees and snakes at this point, but like I can tell it to you still if you don't mind. That you already kind of know where it's. Well, that's the best
I'm
kind
gonna
of
take a
riddle.
page out of Reaper's book. I'm gonna win at your riddles.
Okay. And it's. Look, maybe I oversold it when I said it was good, but it's better than my usual one. I'm pretty sure "Can I Fart Do It Now" was in my riddle book at one point, so this is a step up.
Yeah, that seems more like a command than a riddle.
I
Kind of an aggressive command. I don't really like that one.
I don't like it either. That's what I'm saying. I try really hard to do these, and some of them just do not turn out. But I have no beginning, no ending I seek.
Is it trees and snakes?
Yes,
Sorry,
it's trees. It's trees
I
and
had to
snakes.
take
You got it by line 2. I'm very impressed.
I'm sorry. Please continue.
No.
I've lost so many social fights today. It's difficult for me.
Hey, I'm willing to let you win a social fight today. That's well done. Social fight achieved. What brings you up here today?
Well, to be honest, I'm a bit homesick. You have your rattlesnake down below. I hear that you've seen it in person, so very close to your object of worship. It's not really the same for me where I'm from. And being so far away, well, it's... Yes, I just miss home.
I don't know much about your religion back home. Do you care to share?
You know that nameless thing you would pray to, beg for assistance as you run from the monsters in the dark, that fleeting instinctual begging to survive just another moment?
Yeah?
Or that gleeful feeling of running down someone before you, watching them cower beneath your boot? That is what I pray to.
Look, I don't know. If it were anything else, I would ask if there's anything I could place in this room to make it feel like home, to bring a touch of your religion into this space. But I get the impression that this is not really a space that would be conducive to that. But is there anything I could do to help you feel more at home? I try and curate this space to be a space for people to feel at home with their beliefs, but if it would require going out somewhere and doing something together, is there anything I could do to make you feel a little closer to home?
You know what? I think there is. If I remember correctly, you sort of mollywopped Lillian?
Yeah, little bit. On the plan, but yeah.
I have not exercised much of my abilities here in the real world, so to speak. It's all been in the center of the the theater of the mind in the vibe checks. It's not the same. It doesn't feel quite real, I suppose. I want you to try to kill me. You don't have to follow through, but I want a real fight, something that isn't ephemeral, something that isn't for the purposes of seeing if some mother, father, brother, lost loved one from some begging child is worthy to come back. I need something real.
Okay, I'm rolling initiative. Barbella's got some stuff some emotions to get out, and honestly, I think she fucking relishes the option to just have a fight and not think for a minute.
5.
4.
Okay, well, it's, maybe this is the slow start of. Okay, let's maybe get out of the dead center of the religious worship room, so we don't, I don't know, break Jesus in half.
It's a little after worship entertainment, just like.
There's finally a fight with one of these dry people where they don't just crumple like a leaf.
We start the fight and then quickly stop and shuffle away from all of the religious iconography out the door into a little field nearby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Stranger is gonna go all out, and he is going to. Let me first ask: are we operating on downtime rules? This isn't real. This isn't real for resources.
This isn't real. This is real, but it's not real.
I'm not burning spell slots right now, am I? Right.
No, he wouldn't do that stuff. I could just polymorph myself into a giant ape, and that doesn't seem fun. Okay, Stranger is going to cast Guardian of Nature on himself and use Primal Beast, Bestial Fur. The flavor is that he becomes more animalistic, but I think for this he's becoming covered in thorns and stuff like that. Thorns, grasping vines, just sharp edges and bark. So I get increased walking speed, dark vision, strength-based attack rolls with advantage, and melee attacks deal an extra 1d6 force damage. And as well, he is going to wild shape into... let me see here. What is a good option? Yeah, he'll turn into a giant snake again for now. So yeah, he becomes covered in spikes and thorns, and then his body gets more sinewy and elongated as he just becomes a spike-covered vine with a gnashing pumpkin mouth.
That's pretty cool. Is it Barbella's turn?
Yep.
Okay, Barbella is going to cast Magic Weapon on her crab leg to give it an additional +1 to the attack bonus and +1 to the damage rolls, and is gonna come out swinging with that crab leg. So let's do some rolls.
I would like to use a reaction because, well, actually, no, that's you got this out. Never mind. I'm assuming she's not standing next to me at this point.
So that's a 20 and a 31 to hit.
Both of those hit.
Both of those hit. Okay. Barbella is going to add Divine Smite to the first successful hit, to add an additional 2d8 radiant damage to that first hit. So, okay, so that's 26 regular damage plus 10 radiant damage across the two hits.
Okay. I'm gonna try to squeeze the life out of her and constrict.
Okay, do I need to do anything against that?
I rolled a 12, so I'm assuming I missed.
What's it again? It's AC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that misses.
Yeah, so Stranger tries to get you, and that doesn't work. He is going to activate a different ability, though, and teleport behind you with his inherent racial ability. You have to make I believe it's a wisdom save, or be scared.
Wisdom save. Okay. 18?
Yep, beat me by 1.
Okay, but Barbella is, she's got too much on her mind to be fearful right now. Fuck it, she's got people to hit. So that's a crit 33. And a 15.
Well, the crit's gonna hit.
Okay, the crit's gonna hit. That's gonna be another, Divine Smite on that hit. So...
Okay, yeah, you cleanly knock Stranger out of this transformed form, and he has taken 6 points of damage as a result of this. So
yeah, good thing Barbella's not holding back. Only 6 damage with this lackluster set of rolls.
And I believe, let's see, I'm probably gonna just break concentration here. Yeah, I've definitely broken concentration with those damage rolls at this point. Yeah. Actually, I think I didn't, but whatever. I think it'll drop at this point. And Stranger's gonna go, oh, you are quite a strong one. How did Reaper beat you in a fight?
Did that happen?
Well, she won the competition down below, didn't she?
I threw the competition for political gain.
Ah, of course. And then Stranger is going to transform again, this time into a flying gargoyle bat monster.
How many times do you get to be something else? How frequent is this, friend?
Twice every time I take a nap.
Okay.
Hold on, I just need to look up the stat block. And he is going to start flyby attacking you.
Cool.
Okay, and so this is probably not gonna hit, but he's just trying to strike at you.
Okay, well, Barbella's just gonna keep with the current strat, which is keep swinging that fucking leg. It's the only thing she's in the mood for today. 28-27.
Yeah, you hit.
Cool. Let's get one more Divine Smite on that.
Okay. Yeah, you knock him out of this form too.
Yeah, I came out here to fight you. You. Not a bird. Came out here to fight you.
This is me. And then, so he's used that. What else do I have left here that can be done? Barbella's probably advancing on him at this point, right? To likely put his ass in the dirt. I think Stranger is actually scared at this point, and he's going to use something that he hasn't up till now. Reflexively. He's going to use the boat hack save or suck.
Aha! Ooh.
I'm going to need, let me check the listing here for what exactly it does. Give me a Constitution save.
Constitution, okay. 21.
God damn, I'm just doing nothing. Okay, he gets scary for a second, you just don't give a shit, fine. Oh wait, no, hold on. Silvery barbs. So you have to re-roll that.
Okay. That's a botch. 5. Okay, cool. You finally get one.
So if you fail to save by 5 or more, you instantly drop to 0 hit points.
Fucking hell.
So I think, so you've been ripping Stranger out of the air, tearing his vines to pieces, and he's been grounded by you. You're advancing on him, absolutely about to rip him to shreds. And the Bodak cloak that he wears around himself constricts, and he, like, the lights in his eyes, the glowing orange light flashes brighter as he stares right into your soul. And I think between the banyan tree fruit that he has just ingested and his longing for back home, it opens just a small connection to that being he worships. As above you in this dark night, you see a grinning, malicious face take obscure the sky entirely, and hear the malicious laughter of a cruel, uncaring world as it descends to swallow you whole. I think you just fucking pass out.
Well, presumably you then come over and wake Barbella back up, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Stranger will come over and cast cure wounds on you to help you get back to standing.
Oh, hey, hopefully that was as fear for your life for you as it was for me.
Thank you for that. I feel much better. You really were going to rip me to pieces there. You were quite good. Especially with those gauntlets of yours, I don't think Wight will be a problem at all.
I'm not worried about hitting problems anymore, but do you mind if I tell you something?
Of course.
So, you know how you are in the midst of trying to petition that body parts, part of them end up being used for other purposes as part of the whole process, and you know how someone took a bit of a body part without any say so?
Yes. Should we go back to the confessional?
Yeah. And yeah, once we are back in there, Barbella is...
I don't think he was literally asking you to do it. I think he's more intoning. I think I see where this is going.
Okay. Barbella is simply gonna go, I am not good at stopping and thinking through my actions. I've been trying to get better at it. I am driven by, there is a thought, do it. And I, in my attempt to try and secure downstairs, have caused a bit of a fucking problem. And I don't know what to do.
You remind me of my brother. I don't think he's ever stopped to think about something. I cannot be angry with you. Frankly, there was probably going to be a point where I might have done the same. If, in the grand scheme of things, I've always considered it better to take action instead of taking none. You did what you believed was necessary to survive, and that is paramount for any being. Beyond morals, beyond whatever cause someone espouses, generally survival is all that it comes down to. I saw it with Miss Killings. She waxes about her spot in the queue, how we failed to meet her deadline, but it's for her own benefit and survival at the end of the day. And that I can respect. Masking it in some greater reason, not so much. Do not let it consume you, Barbarella. You did what you needed to. You made the choice. There's nothing more for it other than to move on and deal with the results.
Well, that's what I'm trying to stop and think about before I do. Because right now, the only instinct I have is to just come clean right away. And I don't know if that is the guilt or the gut instinct or what it is. I don't know if it's smart. But it feels like this gets much bigger if I don't get out in front of it.
Perhaps. I used to have to, back home, plan ahead every season how much fertilizer, how many can I afford to put in the ground, how much can I grow, what resources I need. You have to do a risk analysis. How bad could this get if you let it sit and fester? Will it be forgotten? Will anyone really care if you come out now and say why you did this? For the better of Zolfo, for the better of the gig? Or will they care if you've been hiding it amongst them for days, months, years, and then it's revealed what you've done?
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning. Because in my head, the way this goes is if I don't address it, and it comes out that it was me, the result, I think if I come clean and address it, there is a chance it does not tank my career within the Riddle Church. If it is something that is discovered about me outside of my control, I can see a world in which I am told not to return.
Can I ask why you care what the establishment of the church believes or tells you to do? From what I understand, you summoned your god to defend the town. Who cares if some organization tells you that you're no longer a part of it? That they can't take that from you.
As much as I tried, I present that as a thing I did to save the town, I had no idea what I was doing when I did that. There is so much I don't know about my own religion, and that is a beautiful thing. There is so much I want to learn from people who are much better at writing riddles than I. And the thought of losing access to that community and that source of education and insight into this thing that means the world to me, that's kind of terrifying.
But it would make for a new riddle to solve.
Not a riddle I would look forward to.
It was good seeing you, Barbarella. Good luck in your endeavors. I'll be watching.
Let me know if you need beating near to death anytime soon. I gotcha.
I think Wight might have that covered.
Well, if you've got 2 or 3 hit points kicking around at the end, give me a shout. I'll, I got your back.
All right, so Killings is level 8. I haven't leveled up at all this campaign because it's a new character sheet.
That means you have to kind of outline every level, every choice you made from level 1 to 8 in order, and including any retraining that you did during that process for some reason.
Practically speaking, what it means is I miss out on all the feats that I would have gotten if I had been playing this character since the beginning. So there is a material downside to having your character explode into shards.
Who knew?
But yeah, to open my downtime scene here, Killings is in the honky tonk part of the gig, the lowest class, Wildest West part. In the background, Cletus K part is tinky tonkin on the piano. She's playing cards with representatives of the allies we made in the last arc. So Red Tide, the Seaweed Leshy, Goldsby, the Great White Shark Kuatoa, and Salazar, the Vampire Squid Cephalid, are there. And she's just playing cards with them with Jericho, the Pomeranian, on her lap. And she's just like locked in, basically just trying to fleece them as much as possible. But before Boyce arrives for our downtime, I will run you through a couple things about her character sheet. The kind of warlock she is a Dao, D-A-O, which is a kind of earth elemental genie, basically, because the 5th edition does not have magical banyan tree, which can read vibes as a warlock patron by default. I don't know why. It's a pretty common trope. It feels like it should be in there next to Fiend and Fae and Cthulhu. But I've reflavored Dao, which gives me resistance to bludgeoning, and I can add some stats to my Eldritch Blasts. That's mostly what I'm going to be doing as a warlock. Killings is not like a gifted like physical fighter. She does have the +2 paintbrush sword from the last arc, so that she has that like with her, and I don't know if I'll use it, but like that's the only thing she has like that's a outward sign of violence. Everything else is she uses magic from her patrons. We've seen her use President Slater's fire a couple times, and now she's going to be using the Banyan's more like nature magic. The kinds of warlocks you can be are like spell focused, sword focused, or familiar focused. I'm obviously the latter because of Jericho the Pomeranian, who is my familiar for the Pact of the Chain. So long story short, I'm going to be throwing Eldritch Blasts, which is just the most basic, pew, 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 while my dog bites ankles is how she's going to fight.
I thought you were going to throw Eldritch Pups around, and I'm like, that's a bold move right
You're
there.
gonna throw your dog at someone.
Exactly, just let it bite for force damage.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
It does. That isn't, since it's a Pomeranian. Doesn't Jericho have like a really long neck? They can like swing their bites around like a mace or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm picturing just like the tiniest, yappiest little dog, but with a comically long neck, like a giraffe, basically. Which it's quite an image. So yeah, she's sitting at the card table, trying to take all the money from these people who have basically taken payoffs to fight for our society. As Boyce is going to enter, is there anything else you want to know about her character sheet before we actually get into the role playing?
I mean, like, I don't think you need to list all your warlock invocations or the like. No, so I think we can probably just roll with that for now.
There's only one invocation that's pretty unique, the Tomb of Levistus, which is like a panic button where I can get a bunch of health and encase myself in ice. That's one I've never seen anyone use before. I think because the main thing about it is that you are weak to fire while you're in the tomb. Maybe it'll reflavor as it being the roots of a banyan, because the fire weakness still makes sense. But yeah, like if she's about to die, she can just go into like an impenetrable cocoon.
Right.
Because, she's nothing if not pragmatic. I've been thinking about the character kind of in relation to a fan favorite tiefling player character, Veltari from season 3. Veltari was
that one.
Hey, I know her.
Veltari was like a young punk with guitar and badass and like, full of raucous youthful energy, and Killings is like middle-aged, very serious. Like it's like the opposite. I'm trying to bring some contrast there as far as like tiefling lady characters go. But yep, she's playing cards with these other people. When Boyce, you just like walk through the room or something, she can wave you over.
Right. For Boyce's level up, they are a level 8 wizard. They have an ASI from the Leshy. So their int is a 20. For a feat, I picked up tough. I kind of rationalized it as going through the tournament arc and being beaten down several times kind of gave Boyce a bit of like conditioning of sorts. So their hit points jumped up quite a bit, up to 66. They did get an extra 16 from that. They would have had 50, but now they have 66. They upped their magical arcane grimoire to a +2. And other things of note is I've picked up 2 new spells as per the level, those being Thunderstep and Mage Armor. So I have an option to up my AC by a little bit if necessary. But yeah, like Boyce is, Boyce spends quite a lot of time in the hootin' tootin', shooting rootin', area of the gig. It's almost kind of soothing with all the noise around while he does work, and with Gowdy floating around, as well as like the awakened mind of the grimoire floating around Boyce. He notices Miss Killings motioning him over, and just walks on over as she's being a bit of a card shark, I guess. And
yeah, she's in charge of the finances of the Church of the Banyan. That's part of her duties as Camerlengo. So do you want to bet with her, or do you want to try to cheat? So it'd be just a raw d20 or a sleight of hand to get dealt into this card game.
I mean, I think Boyce would just join in and just play a few rounds just straight up. Just join in for a bit here.
All right, let's do some d20s here. 4. Oops.
Let's see here. 3. Let's do this. I think we lost the K parts in this case, didn't we?
All of you guys have your cards fucking backwards.
Someone's got an Uno card.
We're playing low card wins, right? I got a 2.
Yeah, where does the Joker fit into my royal flush?
Yeah.
You guys all thought you were playing Balatro, and you keep discarding all your good cards to get some crazy hand.
I have a Karibo.
I was literally about to say, fuck you, Dan. It's the second time tonight. I was about to say I play Blue Eyes White Dragon in defense position, and I lose all my money. So we're just playing here, not doing particularly well. And Killing says to you, Boyce, would you care to exchange pleasantries or get right to the business?
I think the only pleasantries needed is that it's nice to meet you, Miss Killings, and I assume you know myself already, Boyce as it is, and if there's business to be had, might as well just lay the cards out, right?
I get it because of the cards that are laid out. It's very clever.
No, I mean I'm talking about from a business standpoint. I'm talking about those cards, not the metaphorical cards, not the physical cards that I'm definitely going to win this hand with. Puts down like a pair of 2s.
Yes, Boyce, I do know all about you. Killings pulls out what is clearly the manuscripts that Hylia has been working on all season. Her original reason for even being here was to write great epics about the heroes and villains who are getting brought back. And you see she has a bunch of them for the different characters. There's one, Lights, Camera, Lillian, which is clearly about the Dryad. There's Stranger in a Normal Land, clearly about Stranger. And then there's Boyce the Builder, which seems to be a manuscript about you. And, she flips through it as if saying yeah, I know about all your stuff. We don't need to meet. I know you.
So I guess the question is, what sort of business do you have with, little old me here?
Well, to put it plainly, there's a problem with the Myconid buck. Are you familiar with the situation?
Let me see if I recall things here. I don't know I know too much about them in particular, but they're a myconid, you say?
Yes, a fungus person, a mushroom sapiens.
Right. So what's the complication with them?
While they are required for other plans that are in motion, Stranger is running point on that project. It appears that their spores may be damaging the structural integrity of the island, and we need to have some sort of way to minimize that damage without creating the appearance of, let's say, hostility towards myconids as a protected class. Does that make sense?
Right. So basically, you want to contain the dispersal of the spores in order to protect the flora and fauna around where they're living.
Killing says, I don't know how much you know about mycology, but many fungi are actually beneficial to plants, and we don't want to give the island a reputation for turning people away based on their species. So we do need to find a way to live with them but they appear to be harmful to the ecosystem. So I don't know if you need me to prepare some materials or if you have your own reference sheets for this.
Let me see what I can pull up here. And I have an idea of something to do, but I think it'd be fine to start off with like maybe a nature check or something to kind of get some preliminary information out here. Is that fine?
Absolute. That's what I want. Yeah.
That'd be a 17.
Holy Lord. Yeah, you explained to me why you know about mycorrhizae, which is the symbiotic relationships between plants and fungi.
As far as I know, if there's a purely homogeneous and symbiotic relationships at play, you would have the, ideally, the myconid providing not only some sort of water as well as disease resistance to the plant, but there's some other things that can work out. But usually that pertains to the root system. So it might be partially an issue about the fact that the myconid is on land above the root structure, and the benefits they might be able to impart are not able to be receptive to branches, leaves, barks, and those sort of systems. It also might be a byproduct of exposure to things like sun, oxygen, and other airborne elements that volatilize the compounds that are being put off by the spores.
Some of this appears to be need-to-know information, and I don't think I need to know at this moment, although I am curious how you had all of that in memory. My understanding is you are an architect, not a botanist.
No, but when you engage in architecture for a wide range of potential clients, you have to understand different needs. So when I was doing a semester for subterranean habitation, myconids were one of the types of folks you would have to consider when doing subterranean habitation, as a way to not only provide an environment that's, that's welcoming to them, but also one that might not be as intrusive. A simpler solution would just be to make a pocket dimension within a house so that when they go in, they are not technically within the purview of the nearby area. And then when they walk out for shorter periods of time, the impact on the nearby flora and fauna would be minimized in that case.
Pocket dimension would be, quote, easier, unquote. Roll a d20 for cards, 19.
Okay. 7.
All right, you lost again. Killing says, Boyce, I've read what Hylia wrote about you, and I find you somewhat suspicious. What kind of person spends their life studying myconid and subterranean architecture when you are a water genasi?
Where I went to school, our education was fairly eclectic, and besides, I suppose the best way to describe it is that I find creating homes for people of all sorts to be a fascinating endeavor, since it's like every individual, every community is like a puzzle to be solved, to find maybe not per se the best, as if that is a feasible thing, but like, making the most of what you have for the people that are around you.
So this is intellectual curiosity you're stating. That's the angle?
Yeah, many ways for that.
Looking through this manuscript, it seems like Hylia had a hard time writing your story with dynamism because you seem mostly selfless and without tragic, consuming flaws. You just seem to want to help people, which for fiction can be difficult. She seemed much more interested in the tragedy of Dumas or, let's say, the bloodthirstiness of Reaper and Barbella.
I can only apologize for not being a sufficiently dramatic figure for a work that I was not even being aware was being made of me. Perhaps I had a chance to talk to Hylia, I could have elucidated on some of those notes, but I suppose my story is a bit simpler. To explain, I mentioned this to others, but in short, I first came out here because my dearest friend Ali was terminally sick, and we wanted to come out here in hopes of, using the vibe check and the resurrection well to bring him back when he passed. But in the meantime, Ali is a designer, and Ali and I had these ideas of how to build Zalfo in the area around the gig out in a particular way. And when it was clear that Ali's time was short, he just made it clear to me that suddenly he didn't want to come back.
Yes, that's covered here. I mean, you and Hylia worked together to build the gig, no? So you knew each other on some level.
I suppose it's just sort of been my goal to kind of try to take the feelings I've had for Ali and put them out there through the works I can do in his memory, and I don't think I can do a service of that if I'm getting myself too wrapped up in my own worries and fears about whether I can get the job done. Though that is sort of the pressing issue is I have all these plans, but hardly the means to accomplish them.
Yes, it's my understanding we're in need of building materials. You sank a elvish navy ship, and we've been scavenging bones, but what I've heard from the civil engineer Elfago is that what we truly need is the materials from the corpse of a kraken. Do you have any idea how we're going to accomplish this? As if we need another enemy in these waters?
Hardly. I mean, when the idea was floated to a Reaper, she sort of scoffed a bit at the idea, mostly just because I think that it might have been perhaps a bit too much for what we needed at the time to build the arena. Scavenging was sufficient for it, but the Kraken, or even beyond that, just honestly these. So the Kraken, or honestly any one of these number of events, might act as a real boon of materials to be able to build out more. I mean, frankly speaking, I'm looking at some of the spells that casters of the past would use to create buildings and structures, and part of me wonders if there's a way to upscale such a spell. Instead of making just a tiny hut, maybe make a modest community as a spell or something like that.
Needless to say, that would be very valuable for the Church of the Banyan if we could have housing on demand. I feel as though that should be prioritized if possible. I'm going to go all in. 15.
11.
Holy shit, she is completely dog walking you.
Exodia, obliterate.
Completely destroyed, yeah.
I like the idea of I'm holding Exodia in my hand. All right, so you're going to put it down? No, it's in my hand. I don't need to put it down. I win already. Shit, you got me. Here you go.
It's time for me to win with my 5 of a kind. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I got 5 Exodia's hands in my hand here.
Yeah, Killing's on one side of you, talking you to distract you, and then Jericho the dog, the long neck goes all the way around your body to the other side and is stealing your cards.
And I'm pretty sure Gowdy's just looking at Miss Killing's hands, but just not communicating that to Boyce. It's just looking at.
Yeah. Killing says, my understanding is that in addition to securing all the allies at the World's Fair, you all received some boons as a whole patrol. Barbella got a large belt that makes her stronger. Reaper got some sort of shadow magic from the cephalids. However, you didn't get anything?
I guess not. I mean, it was... I guess the items in question didn't seem immediately pertinent to me, and I was more just relieved that the World's Fair worked. It was kind of one of the larger plans I had to initiate in quite a while, and frankly, I was going to be thankful we had one of our allegiances after all that happened, let alone 3. So...
All of Killing's best stats are charisma, not only because she's a warlock, but just because that's what we know about her at this point, is that she is unflappable and really tough. So her deception skill is bananas. I'm going to roll for bluffing someone else at the table here. Crit! 28 crit! Oh. Holy shit!
Excellent. I'll roll insight just to see how we get here. That's a 1, not a natural 1. I rolled a 3 minus 2.
I crit and you fucked up so bad, which is funny because I am DMing Boyce. So in the normal circumstances, you just failed to do something in the game I'm playing. But because we're both player characters here, something else happens, which is Killing's big bluffs. The people at the table here wins a magic ring and sneaks it onto your finger without you noticing.
Okay.
Like, you're not going to know here. You're going to notice, like, later in the day that she won you something to help with the whole patrol because you didn't get any items for winning the tournament where, like, everyone else did.
I'm now I have to figure out what the hell this ring is later on, but I just find it very funny. Like, Boyce just sort of, like, is caught off guard enough that he doesn't even notice that there's a ring on his finger underneath the glove, even. Just...
Dan just put a picture of glow-in-the-dark spider rings in the chat. I do like that, except they'll be like octopi, not spiders, because this is the magic cephalid here.
It's a bioluminescence there for sure, yes.
Yeah, but she does that partially just because you are ostensibly on her team. She's trying to win the Game of Thrones or the Game of Banyan, and you're on her side. But also, she just thinks it's funny to do that without you noticing with my crit and your 1.
Well, with all this being said, though, do you think we should probably make our way over to this Machinid in order to see what we can establish for him?
Unfortunately, I do not want to run into Commodore Commander Captain Cassidy. We have history, so I actually am not going to go upstairs yet. But do you have an idea? Can you accomplish this task with what we have material-wise?
Let me see here. So I had an idea before all this, Austin, and I wanted to ask you your thoughts on this here. All right. So, the thought I had is that like one of the spells that I have access to is, Tiny Hut, right? And what I was thinking about doing was some form of either upcasting it or doing some other thing between that plus merging in some conjuration magic, maybe either from like a thunder step or some other sort of teleportation magic to fabricate a pocket dimension tiny hut that looks normal on the outside, looks normal on the inside, but it's actually an alternate dimension on the inside that is independent from the surrounding area there. That was my idea. Now, I'm not sure what I need to do to accomplish that, but that was the plan for me, at least.
Yeah, so there is a spell called Fabricate where you can make stuff, and there's a spell Tiny Hut. I don't know necessarily off the top of my head what should be the requirement for fusing them. I do want to say there is kind of the ongoing quest of killing a Kraken because Elfago wants that to happen. I don't know if you are invested in doing that specifically, but as far as the making a pocket dimension house for the Myconids, we can definitely work that out. I mean, maybe that's what the ring does. I was going to ask you after the recording, what do you want your item to do? And if you want it to be that tiny hut is permanent instead of the 8 hours I believe it lasts.
That would be a fun idea. Like, it's almost like a ring of like, I wouldn't say planar binding, but it's almost like a ring of homestead binding, I guess would be a way to say it.
Yeah, you get some kind of thing where you can basically make houses magically, but it needs to be limited because you are kind of working towards a larger goal to do this on a big, community-wide scale.
Yeah, and the bigger thing here is just the fact that Tiny Hut normally like stops working when the spellcaster leaves the area. So the idea here is to do like back in my days in 3rd edition. The way we would do this, just use a cool little thing called permanency. It's a spell that allows you to make other spells permanent. And that's not something they have in 5th edition for good reason.
Yeah, that seems broken. That doesn't seem like a good idea.
I gotta understand, in 3rd edition, there's a lot of things that are kind of bullshit. One of the big things is that wizards could just make scrolls based on their spells and just burn a little EXP to do so. So you can have like what's known as like the Batman belt of spell scrolls of all the spells you'd want to use. So you never have to worry about spell slots, and there's other shenanigans you get up to there. But that's effectively what I'm thinking of here. But that was just the main thought, like creating some sort of house that could contain the spores rather than like putting a bubble around them. Because like if you like put like a containment bubble, that looks like you're trying to isolate them from the rest of the community. And this needs to be more seamless and more seeming like they are part of the community. We're just trying to prevent them from inadvertently harming it, right?
Yeah, so maybe this is like a ring of permanency in which you can use to affect spells, and we'll discuss what that means as we go forward, because it might not be as completely unhinged as that sounds. Maybe something in between hinged and unhinged.
Permanent polymorph Wight into a rat.
I have a suspicion that it could tie to specific types of spells or specific types of circumstances or limited number of uses per rest. You know what I mean? That's one of my main thoughts and limitations for that. But yeah, that's my main thought about the process there.
Yeah, so if you tell Killings you're gonna go look at the Buck's house and see about making it, you'll be like halfway into building some kind of structure when you realize the magic is not fading the way it should be because of your ring. You'll notice the ring, and like that's gonna happen off screen, I think, because she is still hiding here in the tavern to avoid Slater's other employee. We haven't had Killings and Cassidy interact on screen because they've been NPCs both until just today. But soon we're going to develop that. I think Quinn said Killing sprints out of the room when Cassidy entered the gig.
Yeah, like if you want to do like checks for any part of like what Boyce is doing, I can do checks for that if you'd like. But
Barbella and Stranger just burned an entire arc's worth of spell slots, so I think we're good.
Hey, it happened in the downtime dimension.
I was muted before. I did say, though, that does count against your spells for the arc, though, so you heard that, right?
It's not on the recording, so we're good.
It's on my track, so Austin can insert that in.
Hey, can you leave your door unlocked, Quinn?
Stranger Barbella, it's time for your hard mode arc.
So as you explain to Killings what you're gonna do, she she has a clipboard and some paper. She's writing all this down. The Pomeranian's yapping at the other players to distract them while she's cheating at cards. And she does say, "I have one question about this manuscript. Everywhere that Hylia refers to you in these papers, your name, Boyce, has quotation marks around it. It's not like that for anyone else. It's Lillian, Stranger." She didn't even believe Stranger was his real name, and he doesn't have quotation marks. Why does your name have quotation marks?
That's what Ollie always called me, and I just like going by that. I have a name for when I grew up, but honestly, once I came out here with Ollie, I just kind of let that life stay behind me, and I'm Boyce now. That's how it goes. The quotes, I think, was because when it was being written down, it was like the nickname in between my first and last name, and then first last name dropped and the quote stayed.
Oh, Hylia would have loved that. Your old identity died and you were born on Banyan Island. Very metaphorical, I believe is the term. Allegory, symbolism.
The travel out here was the rebirth of sorts, yes.
I'm more of a literal-minded person, so it doesn't do much for me, but I can't wait to tell her when she gets back. Speaking of which,
she is coming back, right? I mean, like I would assume that maybe that the tree pope, as she was, would get a little fast tracked on the whole process, right?
In fact, Doge Hylia has insisted that she not be fast tracked and that she be judged by a jury of her peers. I am not allowed. I am in fact explicitly barred from trying to influence anyone's decision on this matter. She wants it to be a fair vibe check. So whether or not she is brought back is out of my hands. I have a conflict of interest, obviously, because she gives me phenomenal cosmic power. So that's going to be up to, well, probably the circle of trust.
That's quite honorable for Hylia. I'll have to say that.
Yes, I should ask you. Would you like to become a disciple of the banyan tree? Killings pulls out a fruit and just like holds it out to you. You can start taking some cleric or warlock levels. Leave your wizardry behind.
I appreciate the offer, but maybe after I finish what I've started with Zalfel, you know, maybe when I can be happy about what I've done for Ali, you know, then maybe I can consider taking some electives.
Good luck catching that kraken, then. I'll see you later.
And nice playing with you, Miss Killings. I have to admit, my card game is a bit weak, as you can tell here.
Yeah, you got demolished. I'm adding everything you lost to the treasury.
Fair enough.
If Boyce won a car from this card game, it would be his role's Boyce.
I can't believe you! Why would you do this?
Dan. Nice. I approve 2,000%. Well done.
So there's been much, commiserating, and there's been celebration and camaraderie occurring between all these different groups. But at some point, the Circle of Trust are going to kind of go their separate ways. The Wet team is going to be, I assume, heading back into, Zolfo, and the Dry team will be sort of gathering together. And there's a point where you all are kind of gathering together because Mox has asked to speak with you all real quick. And while you were getting together, you see Commander Cassidy pass by you, and he gives you all a very sort of knowing stare as he walks by and is preparing to leave the gig.
Oh, so Killings is part of the Vibe Checkers now, so she's there, and she looks at the two of you and says, "That's not good."
It never is.
The captain is a very powerful fighter on his own, and he has the undying loyalty of a whole legion of people here. This is going to be quite difficult. Do we have any plans?
Everyone has to sleep at some point.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I did have top of the agenda here, big murder, as my plan. But I was assuming you two would try to talk me out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I highly doubt that this man is going to willingly accept that his boss is not coming back at this rate.
Yeah, things were different when I thought that, the whole Slater thing was already done and dusted. When I thought his body was halfway across the ocean by now.
So what, we have to play a cat and mouse game where we pretend we don't know he knows, and we continue vibe checking while slowly picking off 25 soldiers or however many people are occupying our island?
I think we push him in the way of Wight.
How? Not to buzzkill. Wight is in the ocean, far away, and this man is here on the island. What do you mean?
Wight will eventually return here, if the Riddle Snake is as impeccable or as invincible as the denizens of Zolful believe. I don't necessarily know that the banyan tree is as invincible. And according to Barbella, the two are inextricably linked. So, if he wants his precious Slater to come back, he will have to defend this place from Wight.
Yes, no, Hylia left a plan. She is labeled the Uriah Gambit, where we try to feed Cassidy to Wight upon his return. But that is supposing we keep Cassidy from attacking us until Wight returns. That knowing glance he just shot us implies we might not have that much time.
It might be something else. I think he may know who took that liver from the body part storage.
Oh, okay. Maybe. I guess I'm going to have to ask for insight here. Oh, I miss having my stone rune.
Yeah, it's rough, right?
Yeah. Killings is so much weaker than Hylia. Botch.
Wow.
Fuck me.
Let me see if I can save this.
That's karma right there for you.
17.
This is so fucking good. This is like, there's times where the dice is like, we're going to tell the story for you. So with a 14 and 17, that is not a pass, unfortunately. I was looking for a 15 or higher. I think you've posed interesting things. There's a lot of stuff that little glance could particularly be trying to convey, but it is definitely trying to say that he is on a page trying to kind of silently communicate with you, that there is like the unease that's kind of going around is something that like fits this like kind of mood that he's in right now. However, for Miss Killings, who just botched, you assume the worst. You have not particularly seemed to have liked this guy. There's like an intensity that he kind of radiates, and you immediately are like, you suspect everything is because of this guy.
Yeah, I was already planning to play Killings as really disliking Cassidy, regardless of his actual personality. I think all we know about him is he's like an honorable, loyal family man. But I was just gonna have her hate him, whether or not that's necessary or like warranted. But this botch perfectly plays into it. She is now racked with paranoia.
Yeah. But Cassidy is going to leave. You don't necessarily know where, but Mox is going to approach and say, "It's looking a little gloomy around these parts. Feel like might need to do something to lift it up at some point, but you know, everyone loves hearing about y'all doing your vibe checks, so maybe we can get back to that."
Sure, I would love to do my first vibe check. Hopefully the tree will accept me. I mean, I do have tree powers, so I assume I'm part of the gang, and it's not just a plant thing, because you did it, Mox, right? You're not a plant. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, you are correct on that. I don't think it is explicitly a plant thing. And as you said, the tree's already sort of opened itself up to you, so I feel like you're in good company.
I think something I'd like to note about how Stranger is reacting to Miss Killick, since he almost squished her in a previous arc. He is, I guess, kind of strangely showing her really no like overt ill will or irritation at this point. Like he doesn't really seem to, I guess, care that he's now working with Miss Killings when probably most people would.
Yeah, I like that. I think I understand Stranger on a level where that makes sense. I'd be curious if it's clear to the audience.
Just bouncing off of that, I'd like to say that Lillian's demeanor is like someone who is trying very hard to look professional now, because Miss Killings gives off such an aura of professionalism that Lillian is like, well, I mean, if I've got to work with this person, I should try to show that I'm not just fucking around.
Stranger will ask, well, Mox, do you know anything about who we have to check next? Any details, any insights?
Well, I believe y'all heard earlier that there ain't going to be any resurrections for a while, so I think we're going to be putting a moratorium on doing vibe checks for the next in line for a little bit. But, considering the situation, I think it's still good on doing vibe checks for a different reason. And he is going to point to like Lillian's mask and the sword that Miss Killings is holding and the Bodak cloak that's over Stranger. And he's going to say, maybe we can get some more of those items to help turn the tide against Wight.
You're right, and if that's the case, maybe we should check whoever would be the most dangerous.
Well, I came preparing 3 options for you. Ain't exactly clear what makes someone give an item. Y'all done vibe checks that haven't. Those are the ones that you guys do off screen. Essentially, if you just do like a normal person, you don't like finish it. There's like a TPS report or something afterwards.
I'll note a lot of those strangers saying no.
But it does seem to come about when y'all vibe check something interesting. So I have 3 examples for you. And he is going to lay out 2 body parts, essentially. And he's going to point to the first and say, this one was somebody kind of ultimately surrounded entirely by war. Might be a bit intense to vibe check, but I imagine if anyone has an item in there that might be good for fighting a giant of that stature, perhaps it would be in there. There's also this one, which belongs to a corrupt monarch. It was a bit of a kerfluffle down below, I think, recently. I was given a little whisper she probably wouldn't pass a vibe check anyway, but I imagine a royalty has lived a life a bit interesting, and the core kingdom already are enemies, so I guess it doesn't really matter much that way. One, if they get pissed if we say no again.
And you said there's a third?
Yeah, this one, I guess, a bit more obtuse, but considering the situation, might have to take our chances. Third corpse is you, and he's going to point to Stranger.